What's up, Vangas?
Hello, Vangas.
How is everybody doing?
How you doing? We're doing pretty good because we in the motherfucking studio, bitch.
It's actually a one bedroom. Don't do me like that.
That's right. We're not in the studio. We in the one bedroom, baby.
That's
We're
right.
leveling up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles. So we're in Matt's office. We're on the couch. It's still the off season. Guenther's gone. But you know what? We're like, it's ramping up towards this thing. Like, this thing's starting soon. The boys are posting all their little workout pics. Alex Albon posted a thing today. He said 7 weeks to go. I'm like, 7 weeks? That's basically nothing.
Yeah, Brian's. How long did you take for your foot to heal?
I broke my foot November 1st.
Yeah.
So it's been probably 10 weeks.
And when did it feel better?
I've been walking around like pretty fine for the last 3 weeks. So in the time, probably 7 weeks that it took for my foot to heal, in the time that it took for my foot to basically heal,
Yeah.
that's how long that it's gonna, which is no time. It felt like nothing.
Okay.
Because I'm a fucking because my body heals, because I'm a fucking uber fucking healing man. Yeah, but today we're gonna talk about the news. We're gonna talk about the things that are going on. But mostly what we're gonna be talking about is the future.
The future
of this sport, because there's a crazy, like there's a storm brewing.
We're already on to next year.
We're already on to next year because listen, 24. We know what's gonna happen in 2024. Okay, Mag's gonna fucking continue to fucking beat the shit out of these little boys. But but there are so many contracts that are going to be up in 2024. This upcoming silly season is going to be more silly than any silly season that there's ever been. But before we get into that,
Guenther being fired is going to be kind of maybe an afterthought.
Right.
Next year.
Totally.
It's not like Guenther being fired is like the biggest story right
That's
now.
why they had to do it now. They were like, listen, like in a few months, like no one's going to even care about this. If they announced Guenther getting fired like mid-season of next year, people will be like, whatever, where
it's
the
not going to be. Well, they had to.
I know, of course.
But it's going to be small change. There's going to be a lot of moving parts, and we're going to start talking about it now.
That's right.
We're making crazy predictions.
That's right. But before we get into that, we got to thank our daddies of the pod. All right, we got to thank Kayla, Robin, Jordan Texera, Jay Lingle, Spencer Grieve, Javier Mera, Sheila Valeri, Chandler, Luana Galbano, Ali Santana, Carla Huarlo, Kimberly Quaylen, Alonso from My Face 69, Donya Denad, Jimmy, Mohammed Patel, Kimmy, sponsored by Mommy of the Pod, Hollister 584, Liv Lott, Kat, Future Dog Tour Dion, Steph Grossi, JB Fresh, Laura, Emily Gillenwater, Cody Hull is my F1 daddy, Branch W, Keep Up the Signs Hate, Hunter Scruggs, Salmonella Mozzarella, I'm a Leclerc fan and yes it hurts, Jay Kess, Sigma Alonso for president, George Russell is evil, Peter Parker from Spider-Man 3, Matt Edwards is always right, I wish I was Max and Danny's love child, and Camilla. Thank you, daddies. Okay, before we get in, let's start with like whose contract is going to be up in 2024. So I have that right here, okay? And this is crazy, okay? We've got Sergio Perez. I mean, that's the one that's been talked about more than any of the other ones. We all know that like his day is coming. Well, that's all everyone's been talking about. On top of that, we have both Ferrari boys. Both Ferrari boys. Okay. Because there's been rumors that Charles is like re-signed until 2029, but they haven't. Like those are all rumors. Those are rumors. They're not necessarily grounded in reality. Both the Mercedes boys are staying until 2025.
Charles Leclerc is like Ferrari's boyfriend in Canada. It's like imaginary. Yeah. They're not.
It's just like will they, won't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They will.
Yeah, they will. We all know what will happen. Both the Alpine boys are up in 2024.
Crazy.
Both of the F1 Team Kick Sauber boys will be up in 2024. Both of the Haas boys up in 2024. Fernando Alonso up in 2024. Lance Stroll has a rolling contract. No one knows when that will end. Both of the AlphaTauri boys and both of the Williams boys, all contracts over after this year. That's like 2/3 of the grid. Literally the only people that are safe going into 2026, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Lando, Oscar, and Lance Stroll. It's crazy. 6 of the 20 have contracts past this year. So we're going to talk about where we think people might go, who's going to be out of the sport, who might be taking their place, all this shit, speculating wildly. Where should we start?
Do we want to start with okay, let's start with some easy ones maybe. Oh, so let's clear some space. Like who's going to be gone? So we clear the board.
Yes.
Let's like who we think is just not going to be there.
Right. I think that
Perez is going to be gone.
Perez is probably going to be gone.
He's not going to be on Red Bull anymore, but it doesn't mean
he'll be gone.
It just means he'll be not on Red Bull.
I could see him just being gone.
Just retiring.
Just kind of being like, this is, what's he going to go to?
Williams
or
Audi. Or,
yeah, I mean, maybe he'll get a payday from like I
think he's got one more contract in him.
You think?
I mean, he does if he wants it.
Right.
If he wants it.
Yeah. I think Logan Sargent's probably gone.
Yeah.
Zhou Guanyu's probably gone. Yeah. One or if not both of the Haas boys probably gone.
Okay, so that's more interesting.
We're not sure about that because they might stay, but now that Guenther's gone, it's like a little bit like Haas is this.
But who is Haas going to get that's better than those two guys? Who do you see? Let's start with Haas. Who do you see going there that's better than they are?
I could see like Sergio Perez going to Haas. He would bring in a ton of money.
Do you think he wants to go there?
No, but I could see it happening.
Okay, so if his Red Bull contract is up, do you think he would want to go there?
Do I think he'd want to go there? No, but I don't think there's any place that he would really want to go on the grid. I could see it happening. I'm not sure about that. That's a very iffy one for me. I feel like beyond the Haas boys, let's get a few spring cleaning things out of the way. Probably Daniel Ricciardo going into Red Bull.
I think it happens
mid-season.
Well, this is the interesting thing. Do they get him in there? Do they get him in there for the? Do they get him in there for the?
Do they do it? Do they cut Checo's season short?
Short because when's Lando's contract up?
Lando's contract's up in 2025. So they it doesn't.
Oh, so they have an awkward amount of time.
Yeah.
Before the guy that they want actually is available.
Lando would come if Lando was going to go to Red Bull. He would go into Red Bull as of right now, unless people break contracts, which can happen, but probably not. He would go into Red Bull 2026.
Yeah,
that would give Daniel 1 year in 2025. So he would do 2024 with AlphaTauri. He'd do 1 year at Red Bull 2025, then maybe retire. If that's the plan, that Red Bull wants Lando. It's like you bring in Daniel, he gets one last hurrah, he gets one final season with Red Bull, and then they say goodnight, and they bring in Lando in. If that's really what they want to do,
that's probably what's going to happen.
You think that's what?
I think they'll bring in Daniel for 1 year. Yeah, I mean it'll give them a storyline that is good,
right?
I mean, people will be talking about Red Bull in a positive, fun way.
Sure,
for once in everyone's goddamn life, people will be like, "Oh, isn't this fun?"
Certainly what they want. It's like Daniel and Lando give them a bunch of really good PR, a bunch of really good, vibes towards the team.
I guess the question is if 2024 rolls around, Max is dominating, like the same way,
yes,
and he's going to win the constructors by himself,
right,
and Sergio's struggling, the same. Will they pull the plug halfway through and just throw Daniel in there to see what happens? Or are they going to be like, 2025 will be Daniel's year?
I feel like they'll probably be like 2025 will be Daniel's year. They did all this fucking I feel like the only way they pull Sergio is if there's other people that if there's a real threat towards the Constructors' Championship and Checo's fucking up. And Checo's butchering the seat.
Yeah, it's weird because it's they talk about Checo's seat so much, but it really doesn't matter.
Right.
His seat doesn't matter.
Right.
They could literally have me in the car.
Right.
They could have me in the car and still win.
Yeah.
So it's who does it really? And by that metric, why not get the Numbies man himself in there as soon as possible?
Yeah, I mean, I think this year was that. I'm curious. I mean, next year might not be that. Like, they still might dominate, but it might not be so dominant where they might, need like a Valtteri Bottas to, just put in the, that Valtteri Bottas.
I'm about to depress you for a second. Jenny threw in the notes. I mean, this they won as much as they won without the wind tunnel time, with all the penalties,
right?
With everything, the kitchen sink thrown at them. They're going to have probably more wind tunnel time than they did before.
Yeah.
I mean, they already had less. They had had the fact that they won.
Yeah.
And then they got that cut.
Yeah.
Because of all the other shit.
Yeah.
And they had been dominating so much that they probably scaled back on development of the 2023 car. This 2024 car is probably fired up, and this they're rock hard.
Damn.
They've been popping Viagras since whenever, since mid-season. So, I mean...
But there's some other people, and which we'll get into later in the episode, but, those two former Red Bull employees who are going to be, in, working for McLaren now. We'll see if any of these teams can actually make, a jump. My bet is that it's going to be McLaren, who, might be the only people that, sticking around, hanging around. But
I want to talk about an interesting news article.
Yeah.
Andrea Stella said something funny to me. He said, this is a little bit of a tangent, but sort of related. Yeah. Andrea Stella said that that Verstappen couldn't have won in a McLaren in 2023.
Uh-huh.
He's like, it's not just about the driver, it's about the car and the car that you give him. And he said, look, Verstappen is not a god. He couldn't have won in a McLaren. I'm going to push back on that. He could have absolutely won in a McLaren, because if he was in a McLaren, that meant that somebody else was in a Red Bull,
right.
Not him.
Right.
So he absolutely, if Sergio Perez was the lead driver of Red Bull, he absolutely would have gotten 1 or 2 wins in a fucking McLaren, because someone else would have been fucking driving that car that wasn't him.
It would have been Lando Norris, dude. No one had a fucking chance, dude. That's what it would have been.
In that world, they're both on that team.
Right, I see.
In my head. Right. It's a Lando Max team.
And it's Sergio Perez and Sergio Perez. And they're both out in Q3.
Yeah. And they're both squeaking. They're winning. One of them is winning with the championship in a fucking one of the best seasons of all time.
Yeah.
That's like a great season.
That's
one of the greatest. Lewis,
two Perez's, and then Max and Lando in the McLarens.
Yeah, and Lewis Hamilton is chasing his 8th. Are you crazy? That's an amazing. And George is fucking everything up for Lewis. No. That's an incredible season.
It would just be so sick if the best car had people that just couldn't drive it. It would just be so. It would be so great. If that
you put Logan Sargent in the Red Bull. And all of a sudden, you're Gucci.
You put Sargent and De Vries in the Red Bull.
I want the audience to know that I have headphones in, and Brian's right here.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I was like, why the fuck do you have headphones on?
Crazy, absolutely.
Okay,
crazy.
so here's what and maybe we can have different opinions on this. I think that what happens is Perez finishes his 2024 season. At the break, they announced that it's going to be Daniel Ricciardo in the Red Bull seat. Mm. And during silly season, they're going to be like, it's going to be Ricciardo in the Red Bull seat. Maybe he does one race, but I don't think that they're bringing him in halfway through. I think that they've fought so much for Perez to stay in that seat, for them to then drop him halfway through. They could have broken the contract this year, but they didn't. I think it's possible, but I think that that's what happens.
I think they're biding their time until somebody really sexy comes on the market, like Lando.
Right.
And everybody else is just a seat filler.
Right.
Until they get the guy they really want. I think they're probably worried. I think the fact that there's rumors that they're approaching Lando.
Yeah.
There's all these rumors that Lando's getting offers.
Right.
Is telling me that they think that Max is not long for this world.
Yeah.
That's what I'm reading in between the lines. That Max is probably maybe gone.
I feel like
2020.
Here's what I think probably happens with Max. The second the dip starts, he's gone.
Right. The second they have the Mercedes moment where it's over, he's out.
Like, he'll do that season and then be like, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that he's gonna get out before the crash.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna sell all his Red Bull stock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's gonna liquidate.
He's gonna be the guy. He's not going to be the guy in Dumb Money that is holding.
That's right. He's not going to be America Ferrara.
Right.
Yes.
He's going to be the two college girls.
Yes. Who sold like at the right as it started to dip, and they were like, we got out.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, I do think that you're right that Red Bull is kind of biding their time, and I think that Daniel's a perfect placeholder for that. That's why Daniel's perfect for a 2025 seat.
They have such high class problems. They're like, why don't we just throw Daniel Ricciardo in there? Because it doesn't really matter,
right?
That'll be fun. Wouldn't it be fun to have Daniel back? It'd be a great. They're like in a writer's room.
Right.
Wouldn't that be a great storyline?
Right. Well, they're like the hottie at the prom who's just like, you, and then there's just everyone's like, okay, me, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Why don't I make his dreams come true?
Yeah. So I think Daniel gone from AlphaTauri. I also think Yuki.
Well, I want to say this. What if Daniel Yuki is like a wash? What if it's like, what if they're splitting qualifying?
Yeah.
What if it's going to be really hard
for them to put Daniel in the seat?
I mean, I think they might do it anyway.
I think they would still do it anyway, honestly.
Fuck it.
He's got the numbies, great press. Probably Max still dominates. They don't necessarily like need Daniel to be like,
he can handle we know he can handle the pressure.
And if anything, I think the narrative will probably be, there'll still be like flashes of greatness. There might not be like the consistency, but like that wasn't necessarily.
What if Yuki's like up 10 points?
If Yuki's beating the shit out of, if
Yuki
Yuki
beating the shit, I don't anticipate.
Yeah.
I love Yuki more than, but I don't anticipate it being like a little slaughter.
Right. But if Yuki's like solidly beating Daniel Ricciardo, and then Daniel Ricciardo gets the Red Bull seat,
it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be tough, love. No, not for the Daniel Ricciardo fans. They're completely irrational.
No, of course. It'll be hard for me because I'm like
I'm torn. I'm Natalie and Bruglia. I'm Natalie and Bruglia.
But I'm really like you come on. If Yuki's hanging with Daniel and beating Daniel, and then Daniel gets the Red Bull seat, that's gonna be crazy. Especially,
I would give the tie to Daniel just because of his experience.
He has the experience, but especially if Yuki winds up seatless in the following year, which is a possibility. So let's get into Yuki.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's the rumors that there's the Honda partnership that's on the horizon with Aston Martin. Lance Stroll has a contract for life there. Fernando Alonso's contract is up in 2024.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that. I think Honda, it's interesting because if you're Honda, you're like, I hate Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
He said GP2 engine.
Right.
Do I ever forgive him for that?
Yes.
But then I'm also like, are we going to get a better driver than him?
Right.
To come to this team? Probably not. He's the best that we're probably going to do.
Yes.
I also think, are we imagining Lance Stroll wanting to do this for another year after next year? Does it seem?
I don't know. I know. I mean, he seems miserable.
I think he's gone. I am putting a Fernando and Yuki team together, and I'm
that would
repainting my whole house green.
I mean, that would be the greatest thing that's ever happened.
That's the best team.
Can you imagine a Yuki Lance team? That would be the blind leading the blind.
Yeah, would be cringe.
Who do you listen to in that? Who's
the
room?
Team leader?
Yeah, who's leading that team? I mean, kind of fucking crazy. Okay, I like this scenario. I'm into this. Lance Stroll after 2024 saying, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm out.
I'm gonna go to WEC, or I'm gonna
go to WEC. I'm gonna have a nice life,
or I'm gonna build. I'm gonna live on an island somewhere.
Yeah. What if I had what if I just enjoyed my life? What if I just did that? I mean, he's posting all these videos of him snowboarding in the fucking backwoods. Yeah. Seems like he's having the time of his life.
What's the point of being that rich and privileged if you're not having a good time?
If you're not just living it up.
Yeah.
Just live it up, Bobby. Okay, I love this.
So it's Fernando Yuki team.
Okay, so what that leaves is two AlphaTauri.
Honda would have to be some spiteful pieces of shit to not forgive Alonso.
Yes.
After all these years.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. Let's not be crazy.
Yeah.
And Honda, you've had such a crazy time. You're the ups and downs of F1 have been, you have to acknowledge the downs as well.
Yeah.
And just because Fernando Alonso said the quiet thing out loud. I mean, that's what happened. Fernando Alonso said the quiet part out loud. Yeah. And you're really going to punish
and you
him for that?
blackballed him?
Yeah, you're really going to punish him for that?
10 years later or
just
whatever?
because he's Cat Williams? Come on. Is Fernando Alonso the Cat Williams of Formula One? He kind of is.
He's short and he's angry. He's
short.
made constant career missteps.
Yes.
But he speaks truth to power.
And he speaks truth to power. He says the quiet part out loud. And he's just like probably objectively better than everyone else. He doesn't have the championships. He doesn't have the television shows or the movies or necessarily the resume. But like when it comes to the raw pace,
he's got it.
He's got it.
Yeah.
Just like Cat Williams.
Yeah. Fernando Alonso is the Cat Williams of F1.
Put it on TikTok. Okay. So what
I can't wait till Fernando Alonso gets into a fight with a middle schooler. I'm dying to see
Wouldn't
that.
Put it past him. And when he comes on our podcast and just talks shit about everybody.
Cannot wait for
just
that.
talk shit about everybody. It needs to happen.
I just want some middle schooler to come up to Alonso and be like, Lewis beat you on countback. Just bomb, bomb.
Yeah. He beat you in 07 as a rookie. Oh, that's fucking really good. Okay, so what that leaves, though, is 2 empty seats at AlphaTauri, going to be the Racing Bulls. So this is where this gets kind of interesting, because I think probably who's going to be filling these seats, one, Liam Lawson. But then there's an interesting thing. So now we're getting into the guys coming up. And Red Bull has 3 other guys, really 2 who actually have the potential to actually do this. They're Dennis Hauger and Ayuma Iwasa.
Okay, so where did Hauger finish last year?
Okay, so Hauger was an F3 champion.
Yep.
But then he struggled in F2. He got 8th in 2023.
That's tough.
Now, Iwasa got 4th in F2 this year. I think he got 5th or 6th in F2 last year. He's pretty consistent.
He's not as young as you think he is.
He is not as young. Also, there's less of like a Honda, as Honda's leaving the Red Bull.
No, he's unlucky in the same way that Yuki was lucky.
Right.
Yuki got in when Honda was really interested in making that Red Bull relationship work.
Right.
Whereas Iwasa's,
right.
not.
But he is probably like the guy. There's Jack Crawford is also in the Red Bull program, who's American, but he's been kind of mid.
It's interesting because Liam Lawson was kind of mid. And then he went to Super Formula and kind of tightened it up.
But his mid wasn't even that. Like he got like 4th in F2.
That's kind of mid.
It's kind of mid, but it's not like, like Hauger got 8th in F2. Iwasa, I think Iwasa finished 1 place behind Lawson. So you could argue that Iwasa's kind of like right there with him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now Iwasa's staying in F2 this year, which people were like a little bit surprised by. There was a thought that maybe he was going to go to Super Formula and kind of get and do that same track that
Liam
Lawson did. It'll be this F2 season is going to be really interesting because it's like Iwasa.
He might be fucked because
he needs to fuck. It's going to be really fucking competitive, and he needs to like show that he's got the stuff to fill that.
Who's
second
he
Red Bull
running
seat.
with? He's running with the guy Kimi Antonelli, who's like the LeBron James of.
Yeah. There's a lot of there's
F1.
some fucking this F2 season is fucking stacked. Yeah.
Who else is in there? They got
there's Kimi, there's Victor Martin, who was F3 champion, and he did pretty well this year in F2. There's Ollie Bierman.
Yeah. Is he a Mercedes guy?
He's a Ferrari guy.
Oh, he's a Ferrari guy.
There's Kimi Antonelli, who's he's
literally won everything that he's touched.
The chosen one.
He's the chosen one.
Yeah, there's the F3 champ, this Brazilian kid, Gabriel Bortello. And then there's this guy, Ritomo Miyata, who is, also kind of made his bones in Japan and is a super highly touted prospect coming in as well. There's a bunch of guys coming in.
We call this a bloodbath.
It's a bloodbath because there's so many fucking seats opening up, and especially for these 2. I mean, I think Lawson's got it hooked up. I think it's probably going to be Iwasa, unless Red Bull goes outside the family, which they could absolutely do. I could see Red Bull, because as let's get into Kimi Antonelli. Would it be crazy? Because
I know what you're thinking. I don't, if they Zach Brown it. No.
Yes. If they Max Verstappen it. And they're just like, we'll put you in F1 right now.
Because for those of you who don't know,
Yes.
Max Verstappen was talking to Mercedes.
Yes.
And Mercedes was like, we're going to set you up. You're going to be doing F2, F3. And they're like, and Red Bull's like, fuck that. Toro Rosso immediately.
Yes.
And that's how they got him.
Yes.
Now, they have that power because Mercedes doesn't have a second team.
Well, they have like Williams.
But Williams, one seat, maybe.
One seat, maybe.
But right now they're filling neither of those.
Right.
They've got Logan and
Albon.
And Albon. And the problem is now Williams has their own driver development program.
Right.
So how are they going to be able to sign young talent when one of their seats goes to fucking Mercedes guys?
Right.
Now they're going to have to pay a pretty penny to get someone like Kimi on the team. And from my understanding, is like, let's say Mercedes was like, okay, put Kimi on Williams right now. It's like, okay, you got to have a huge discount on engines, huge discount on engines, and Williams is going to be like, well, we're going to want him for like 2 years.
Right.
So it's like Mercedes is going to have to let him go for 2 years.
Right.
And also, is Kimi going to want to be on Williams for 2 years if he's that hot shit?
Yeah.
So that's where it gets kind of interesting. So yeah, maybe Red Bull could offer him. I bet you them getting him in Williams. I think Alpine fucked this up colossally.
100%.
I think if Mercedes puts him at Williams, like he's fucked, he has to stay there. Like it's like probably like Kimi is like, we have to get you a F1 seat.
Right.
And if that's Williams, it's Williams. Like tough shit.
Right. Well, I think most of the time, any way that you cook this, most of the time you're not Oscar Piastri jumping into like a sexy team. You know, it's like usually, it's like that's what Leclerc did. That's what George Russell did. It's not necessarily a shitty situation. You have 2 years on a team with not high expectations.
What George Russell did.
Exactly.
George Russell did like 3 years, didn't he?
I think he did 2 years.
Did he do 2 years or 3 years?
I'm not sure. It was either 2 or 3 years, and yeah, all those boys, they came in 20. I think.
No, George Russell did 3 years, and he's like, that's his cross to bear.
Yeah.
That he did 3 years.
He was like, I was in the shit.
Yeah,
I was in the shit for 3 years at Williams.
That's his chip on his shoulders.
Well, the thing is, the thing with Kimi Antonelli is that like, is he coming for? Seemingly, this is what Mercedes had planned, was that George is going to come in, Lewis is going to win his 8th, retire, George is going to be top guy, and then we got this Kimi Antonelli guy who's going to come in, and they're just going to hand off the baton nice and clean, like in the Olympics. And then what's happening right now is there's like
George is fucked.
There's a big old fumble, like when you see someone, they pass the baton, they just drop it, and it's just like chaos. That's kind of what's happening.
I think this is
now.
George's last year to prove himself. He needs to beat Lewis this year.
Yeah.
And even if he beats, he needs to beat Lewis convincingly, because even if he like edges Lewis in this lame way that he did in 2022,
right?
It's like, okay, so you kind of did a few Hail Marys on strategy, and you beat an older, like you beat like a almost pushing 40 Lewis,
right? It's like you're not a rookie. It's like you're not like there's no more excuses.
Yeah, it's
like either you're the guy.
They're looking for the next Lewis. They're not looking for the guy who can just beat.
Yeah.
They're not looking for the next Rosberg who can beat Lewis.
Yeah.
Like 1 year when all the stars align.
Yeah,
they're looking for the guy
and then quit.
They're looking for the next Lewis.
Right.
The next Verstappen.
Yeah.
And the next Verstappen is not beating Lewis due to some technicality in the last race where they let the cars unlap themselves.
Right.
Just kidding. That's exactly what happened. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think George is fucked, and I don't know what happens if Lewis doesn't beat George. If George doesn't beat, how long is when is Lewis's contract up?
Lewis's contract is up in 2025. Same with George. They both have contracts through 2025. I think Lewis is going to want to stay. I think that Lewis is sticking around.
I think if Lewis wants to stay, I think George is gone, and I think they bring Kimi in.
I mean, that would give Kimi 1 year. This is what would have to happen.
No, then they probably re-sign George for like one more year.
1 year.
1 year.
And he's like pissed about it.
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck? They signed Lewis for 2. They signed George for 1, or Lewis for 3. Maybe they signed George for 1.
Or they give him a 1-1 on their side.
Right.
They give him an option on their side.
Right.
But they like if he doesn't But I think he's fucked because he hasn't beaten Lewis. He hasn't beaten older. What you would think biologically past his prime Lewis.
Yeah.
So it's over for him, kind of.
It might be. And so then what that situation is that Kimi Antonelli, if he performs well in F2.
Yeah.
If he gets like a top 3 performance
he's
in F2.
He's going F1.
He's going to F1. He's probably going to Williams.
Because Red Bull will take him.
Because Red Bull will take him.
Yeah, immediately.
Logan Sargent will be out.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that's happening at Williams, Alex Albon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's rumors that Albon's going to go to Ferrari, that Ferrari likes Albon, that they like his vibe, that they think that his driving style is actually more suited. It's more similar to Leclerc's, that they would complement each other, all this stuff. Now, what that also implies is that Carlos Sainz is not long for his time at Ferrari. That's what people are saying. Those are things that are possible.
Mm-hmm. Lots of people are saying that.
that
Alex Albon is going to Ferrari.
Because Carlos Sainz sucks. You suck, Carlos. I don't know. Where would Carlos Sainz go? Because Carlos Sainz only makes good moves in Formula One. The guy he always lands clean. He's like a cat. When the cat like falls over and then it just like lands on its feet, and you're like, how the fuck did you do that?
Yeah, I don't know, but he's kind of now in a place where he can only go down.
Yeah.
He's sort of got his way up to the top.
Yeah.
Which was really impressive. But now it feels like he can only go down unless he goes to Audi and they've somehow figured it out in their first couple of years.
Right.
And it's a rocket ship.
Yep.
But that is history tells us different, that's not what happens.
I could see him going to Audi. I could also maybe see him going to Alpine. Going back to his Alpine, I could see that potentially.
Or you know what would also be interesting? He's a great candidate. Now I'm fucking up my dream team.
Yeah.
He could go to Aston. Like I see him going to a solid team.
Him with Fernando.
I see him going to a solid team.
Fernando just destroys him.
Yeah. I see him going to a solid team with that he could tell himself could win.
Right.
But I see it, maybe Audi. Alpine, I don't think he's going to go to Alpine because Alpine's never going to win.
Right.
They just don't care enough.
Yeah.
They just they don't put the resources in. Although with this new management group, who knows?
Yeah. So that's potential there.
I think he's gone though. I don't think
you think maybe he leaves. He's out the sport.
No. I think he's going somewhere. Do you think that Carlos Sainz is going to try to sweat out like 2 more years with Leclerc?
I think he'll try. He's like hasn't embarrassed. Like it's like it's been ultimately. I think he's been fucking like on tilt, but I think it's been ultimately. It's good for the legacy.
Try to stay?
I think he's going to try. Oh, I think do I think he'll try to stay? Yes, but if he but
or do you think he wants his own team?
I don't think so.
Because Audi, they might say, "Hey," so one of these other teams might say, "This will be your team."
Yeah, I could see that if there's a better offer on the table for sure.
Because right now, do you think he wants to keep dealing with the fact that it's not his team? That he's a number 2 driver.
Yeah,
and he's gonna have to. He has to use all of his political will. And Fred Vasseur.
Okay. I like that. Okay, so here's what I think happens then.
Okay.
I'm going to throw this out. I think that maybe Carlos Sainz goes to what's going to be Audi.
Yep.
F1 keeps Sauber.
They build the team around him.
Zhou Guanyu's gone. Do I think then maybe, get this, Valtteri Bottas goes to Williams and takes Albon's seat and finishes his career at the team where he started?
I think Bottas is
You think
gone.
Bottas is gone? Okay, so then who do you think takes that second Williams seat? Because if they're going to bring in Kimi Antonelli, they're going to want someone with experience. They're going to want someone that can be nurtured underneath him.
I think wouldn't it be Checo? Or you think Checo?
I guess it could be Checo.
Could be Checo.
Could be Checo, or I think I'm like if it's Checo, it could be Bottas. You know what I mean? I think like Bottas has more of a connection with that team. I know it's new management, but there's something about that, and like, I think that there's. I think
Bottas or Checo that end up there.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah,
there's also the Gasly Ocon situation. That's crazy that they're both up.
Well, yeah, but part of me thinks that they both renew. that they stick with them.
See, here's a fun thought.
Yeah.
You do a new TV show, blows up.
Yeah.
You become a bajillionaire. You get into a new investment group with Michael B. Jordan and Ryan McElhaney.
Yeah.
Or Bridge and Tunnel becomes a cult hit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like after the fact, you become a huge star. And
you're
making millions of dollars. You buy into Alp. You buy into a new team.
Yeah.
What's the fun in just keeping the new drivers? Like, don't you want to throw your weight around and make some signing? That's like part of the fun of doing this. It's really hard to come in as a new ownership group and be like, yeah, re-sign the same guys. It's
I hear
so
that.
like from a human standpoint.
But I think if they're gonna make, if you're really gonna make, that's a sexy way of throwing your weight around. But if you're gonna like want this team to be great, I don't think you do it with the drivers. I think you do it with like the management. I think you try to bring in people from Red Bull. You try to like make waves and like fuck around and break.
These
things.
are Hollywood people.
Yeah. So they're like, who's starring?
Yeah. Who's in front of the camera?
Right.
You're throwing a bunch of nerds' names at me.
Yeah.
Psychologically, they might want to sign a name.
Okay. But then
if Daniel Ricciardo's available, you know what I'm saying? You mean to tell me that Ryan Reynolds is not going to want to try to get someone like that? You know?
You're right.
It's going to be really hard. Think about the numbies they do.
Oh, you're right. Do you think they get rid of both of them, or you think they keep one? Because
they probably keep one.
Based off that, you keep Gasly. Based off that criteria, if you just want like sexy guys who
you only need one French guy,
right? And what does the new management? What does Rob McElhaney and these like American investors care about it being like too French? They don't care about the Frenchness of the team.
Maybe we're overstating this.
Their influence.
No, they're how stupid they are because they did just rebuild that Wrexham thing.
Yeah, no, I think that they know how to listen to the right people. I think they like these are, while they're Hollywood guys, they're kind of like the savviest of them.
Yes. I mean Ryan Reynolds is smart. He has this whole like Mint Mobile thing. Like he's making a lot of money.
Yeah, they make like their
outside of Hollywood.
They're like tequila. They have like all this. It's like I'm a movie star, but like
he has this
I make
maximum effort, which does like marketing. Or something.
Yeah,
he has like a whole empire.
Yeah.
So he's not like an idiot, obviously, but from a marketing perspective. If you're trying, I don't know.
It is a good narrative, though. Like the two Frenchmen, like this is the French team, these are the French guys. Like I don't think it's necessarily I don't think it's a knock on them. I think that they have like an interesting.
No, it's a great lineup.
Pitch.
It's a great lineup, but is it sexy enough?
Yeah.
Are either of them big enough? You want a Ricciardo?
I think you resign because I don't think there's anyone sexier right now.
No, in 2024. How long is Daniel Ricciardo in there for? When's his contract up?
Up in 2024.
I think Daniel Ricciardo might go back there. How long do you think he's lasting?
Not sure.
Well, no, he's going to do. We said he's going to be Red Bull 2025.
If he doesn't, maybe that's what happens. They offer that.
Yeah. No, we have to make predictions. He's going to be at Red Bull.
I think he's going to be in Red Bull in 2025. I think I think that both.
I think we're making like this too dramatic. I think they signed both of those guys for like one more year.
Exactly.
Yes. And they wait.
Yes. They wait it out.
They wait it out.
They wait it out.
Unless one guy dominates the other.
Yes.
But
because then like George Russell will be gone. I mean, Lewis Hamilton maybe. That's obviously like
Lewis Hamilton is staying at Mercedes or he's retiring.
Of course. But like if Ricciardo signs for another 1 year, then maybe they have a chance to get him. Honestly, Yuki.
Yeah.
Like, let's not be like Yuki could be there in 2025, but I think for 2025 they re-signed Gasly and Ocon both for 1 year
and an option on their side probably.
Okay, so what does that leave? That leaves there's still an open seat if Carlos Sainz is going to F1 Team Kick Sauber, we need that second seat. So now that maybe this is where there's another junior guy coming in, because if you got like an experienced guy. Maybe you do bring in a rookie. I don't know how much pull Ferrari still has in that department. Like Ferrari, like how much pull? Like does Ferrari get one seat where they get like a choice of who they want?
Not when Audi takes over, probably. But they probably probably still have some pull with this.
Because if they're going to do
supplying engines,
it would be probably Théo Pourchaire. Because Fred loves him. We talked to Fred about like who like of the junior guys he loves.
2 years ago,
but he just won F2
in his like second or third year.
In his third year, but he got second. No. But he got Teo Porcher. It took him 3 years to win F2, but he got fifth in 2021. He got second in 2022, and he won last year. So he's been like he got second, last year, and then won this year. He's been consistent.
Who did he lose to, like Drugovich?
But he was. I mean, Drugovich, it was like his fifth year in F2, so he knew the fucking like lay of the land. I mean, he was a
super senior.
Yeah.
Just beating the shit out of children.
Yeah. But yeah, there's Teo Porcher. There's Ollie Behrman. Ollie Behrman's also a Ferrari junior. And Haas said that when Ollie Behrman did like a test for them, they sang his Bremen.
That's the other place that Ferrari has pull.
Yes.
Okay.
And now I could see them now that like Guenther's gone, where they're like, oh, you like we're gonna put in our shit here even more. You need us even that much more, honestly.
Well, if they want to save money,
yeah,
because I think that was Guenther. Because that was
Guenther was like, let's do this thing on our own, and Gene was like, nah, can't do that.
Well, Guenther was like, let's actually pay drivers to do their job.
Yes,
and that's why they got such a good result in 2022.
Yeah,
that with Mick and K-Mag.
Yeah.
And then in 2023, they had two professional drivers, and you know what? They came in last, but it was touch and go. It was only because AlphaTauri just went apeshit at the end of the year.
Yeah.
They almost got ninth. Are we having this conversation if Guenther got ninth instead of 10th?
Honestly, maybe. I still think maybe, because I think that like there was a fundamental like disagreement about like how they should proceed going forward.
Yeah.
And Gene's been so fucking bitchy in the press.
What's he been saying?
He's just been like, like now engineering's at the center of this. The implications are all that like Guenther's fame was getting in the way. This was an like the team's an embarrassment. We want to win now, and like blah blah blah. Now he's been throwing fucking.
Well, Gene's an engineer. Actually,
yeah.
So he's thinking. So he wants to hire like an engineer.
Yeah,
another
nerd. I'm tired of this.
I'm tired of this Hollywood shit.
Right.
I'm tired of this guy who has a deal, a Hollywood deal.
Right. All right.
Which, by the way, everyone's saying, "Well, he had a Hollywood deal." I'm like, you know how involved he was in that? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
He got some money.
Right.
He's gonna read the script. Say, we wouldn't do it like this.
They're going to slap his name as an executive producer.
He spent maybe 5 hours on that whole thing. So this idea, like, well, he's gone Hollywood. It's like, no.
Yeah, he's taking meetings.
We know people that are like involved in that capacity on shows.
Yeah.
And they consult and they slap their name on it. But it's not like they're burning the candle on both ends.
Okay, this is what Jenny said. According to Marco, Guenther Steiner wanted to...
Marco's wading in.
Marco's throwing his fucking chips in the fucking table. Okay, according to Helmut Marko, Guenther Steiner wanted to convert his gain in popularity through Drive to Survive into shares of the team. But that did not sit well with the team owner, Gene Haas, and hence Steiner's contract was not renewed in 2024. Quote, let's put it this way. Anyone who becomes too popular through a documentary like Netflix tends to take off. But if you fly too high too quickly, you will fall more quickly. F1 insider who quoted Marco.
Wow.
See, he flew too close to the sun?
I thought he just wanted Gene to invest more into the team, or he wanted some celebrities. There was also rumors.
Yeah.
So this is the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Is that I heard that Rob McElhenney and those guys were looking to go into Haas.
Yes.
And that was denied. And that pissed Guenther off. It's like, let's get some more money into this thing.
Right.
So, like, two things could be true.
Yeah, it might be part of the cocktail.
Yeah, it's like, give me some ownership.
Well, he might have said, all right, well, if you're not going to do that, then I want fucking a piece of this goddamn thing.
Yeah. So it's like,
you know what I mean? Who knows what?
Both sides are...
Many fine people on both sides. Wow. Damn, fucking...
Helmet
Marco, dude.
Well, that's a juicy little tidbit.
That is a juicy little fucking...
I want shares in the team.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm Gene, I'm like, probably go fuck yourself, right? It's really hard to put your own ego aside You're like, this
when
is
you fronted every bill,
when you paid for everything,
when you fronted every bill and paid him, and he's had. I mean, but
and he's and because he's a Kardashian now, I have to give you shares.
Yeah, I mean, Guenther did start he started the fucking team.
It was his
baby.
He had all the political connections and the vision, and he was the one that was like, no, we're gonna get these parts new.
Yeah,
he made it happen. There's no any asshole with money. There's lots of assholes with money.
Yeah,
Yeah, but there's only one Guenther.
It's true.
So, what's funny?
Yeah.
This is wild. Everyone's talking about how Andretti could buy Haas, blah, 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 blah.
Right, yeah,
I was like, what do you think F1 would be more excited about? And Andretti trying to get in
through
as
the
an
back
11th
door.
team?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Or Guenther just finding a new rich asshole and trying to buy back in?
Absolutely.
Absolutely Guenther.
Absolutely Guenther.
I mean, how is Guenther not just finding another billionaire to fund Team Guenther?
Because at the end of the day, it is still like $1 billion. Because it's still so much goddamn money that even though Gunther's charming
but it's a money making proposition. It's now financially viable because of the cost cap.
Yeah,
and Andretti's has all this headache because who the fuck cares about Andretti?
Well, what's your suggestion that Guenther goes with Andretti?
No, that fuck Andretti. Fuck Andretti. I have Andretti's like, look at all this money I have. I have money
and resources.
Colton Herta finished in 12th in IndyCar, and I have the Andretti name.
Right.
I think the Steiner name beats the Andretti name right now in terms of relevancy.
Yeah, sure. With the established F1 fandom.
With the established F1 fan, who's as a casual F1 fan, who's more excited? Are you more excited by as an American F1? This is the crazy part. American F1 fans care more about Guenther Steiner than they do about Andretti.
Yeah.
And I love Mario Andretti.
Right.
He's a friend of the pod. Yeah. We talked to him twice, but the average person doesn't know who Mario Andretti is.
Yeah, well, it's the son, but even still. Yeah, the Andretti name.
The Andretti name. Yeah. That's what I want. I want Guenther to just
find some
run the clock, run it back to the exact same thing, and just do what Andretti's doing.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody because here's the other thing. Michael Andretti, I think he pissed all those teams off the way he went about it. They don't like like him.
Right.
Like as a person.
Right.
They're like, no, we don't want you. You can't sit with us.
Yeah.
It's very high school.
Yeah.
Like Guenther has mastered the high school part of it.
Yeah.
So I think a Team Steiner
GP.
Steiner Racing.
That's our call. Haas sells to a billionaire, not knowing that Guenther Steiner is even involved. He sells, and then Guenther Steiner they sign the document.
He does what Andy does in the office, where
what does he do?
He's working as a janitor, and he finds a big backer, and then he comes out in a tuxedo, and it's like, haha, bitches, they're backing me. He comes in with I forgot.
It would be the ultimate Tom Wamsgans move.
Yeah.
He just finds a fucking Skarsgård.
Yes,
and then all of a sudden he's back. He's CEO.
You mean to tell me there isn't some billionaire that wouldn't back Guenther?
He's like, look at my track record. I'll get you 10th. You'll be last place, but I'll be leading the team. It'll be me, Elon. Listen, it'll be me, Elon.
If I had the money that some of these guys had, I would be in 100%. But I guess people say we don't get to be a billionaire unless you do things like that. I'm sorry. A lot of people get to be billionaires because they're incredibly lucky. They steal, they lie,
yes,
and they don't give people air conditioning.
Yeah, they take shortcuts.
Or let them go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. So it's not all just. And they copyright things that other people just were doing before them.
Okay, so that's really fucking fun. Okay, so what we have...
God, I wish I was Bill Gates so bad.
So what we have right now is we've got Kimi Antonelli and did we make it? Valtteri maybe and Valtteri Bottas at Williams in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Liam Lawson and Iwasa at Aston. I mean, at AlphaTauri.
At AlphaTauri.
We've got Lance Stroll leaving, Yuki Tsunoda and Fernando Alonso at Aston Martin. Mm-hmm. Love that. We've got Carlos Sainz And we still don't have a second person for this. We were thinking Théo Pourchaire.
Where? At Haas?
At Audi. What's going to be, or F1 team Kick Sauber. And then this gets to the Haas question. So we've got K-Mag and Nico. I think if one of them's going to stay, it's probably Nico.
Yeah.
I could see K-Mag going. I don't know.
You throw one of the Ferrari juniors.
You could throw Ollie Behrman or Théo Pourchaire there. Yeah. So I think Ollie Behrman, because Ollie Behrman did he tested with Haas. They loved him. They loved him when he tested.
What are they supposed to say to the press? He was all right.
No, but I think but sometimes they're like, it's it's kind of cryptic.
Okay.
They were like gushing over him.
Okay.
And Io was like the new the Io, who's now the team principal.
And where did Ollie Behrman finish?
Oh, he got 6th this year.
And it's only going to get tougher next year.
2 behind Iwasa. Yeah. So there's this kid, Frederick Vesti.
Yeah, but he's Merc.
I think he's a Williams. I think he's in through Williams. But some of this shit can fucking change. Victor Martins, he's with Alpine.
It's crazy how much talent there
Jack
is.
Doohan,
get nowhere.
Jack Doohan, who's also with Alpine. He's like coming up. But if they don't get Alpine seats, I could see someone else kind of like snatching these guys up.
So who's at the top of that heap? Frederick Vesti. Where's he at? Who's he with? I think he's with Williams.
Mercedes. No, he's a Mercedes junior driver.
He's fucked.
Yeah, he's fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Zach O'Sullivan also finished. He was second in F3 in 2023. We'll see how he does in F2 this year.
Was he at Williams?
He's a Williams junior driver. This kid Gabriel Bortello is not associated with the team, but he won F3, so we'll see how he does in F2 this year. So like any one of these guys could potentially, if there is a team like Haas or like Sauber that wants to like maybe bring in a rookie, maybe they get like cheaper parts from Ferrari, maybe there is like a pathway here. Then there
doesn't seem like Ferrari has a sexy rookie right now.
No, their sexiest rookie is I think Théo Pourchaire, I think because he's still got the Fred connection.
Well, no, Théo Pourchaire is not Ferrari. He's Sauber.
He's Sauber, but it's Fred. I mean, if Fred's kind of like calling shots and saying like I like him, then if Fred has pull like that.
Okay, so I think maybe we'll put Théo Pourchaire for a year
at Sauber.
Yeah, sure, why not?
So Théo Pourchaire there.
Let's give him a seat in some alternate reality.
We got K-Mag leaving. We got Hulkenberg staying. You think Haas brings in like a rookie? Maybe. I mean, they might. Yeah, they might if they're fucking strapped for cash and the option.
Who do they put like Schwartzman in? Who's been sitting in a refrigerator?
Maybe Schwartzman. Yeah.
I don't know. Have they ever given a guy a seat
after this long on the bench?
He's the same class as Callum Ilott.
Yeah. He's been sitting.
Callum Ilott had an IndyCar career and lost it in the span of time that this guy's been sitting on Binotto and now Vissor's lap.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is tough. I don't know what's going to happen there. Do you bring in like an IndyCar guy? Do you bring in Alex Palou?
I don't think Ferrari's that imaginative.
But Haas might be.
Oh, Haas.
No,
but I don't think Palou goes to a team like I don't think if you're Palou and you're making good money at Chip Ganassi, you don't go to a sham organization like Haas.
or our guy or our boy Pat, Patricio Award.
Yeah. No, I think.
Or do they stick with K-Mag and Hulk?
They think they stick.
Think
they
stick? Okay. I think they stick.
Okay,
so I think that's our board.
So 2025, we got Max Verstappen
and Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
You got Charles Leclerc and Alex Albon. Lewis Hamilton and George Russell.
Yeah.
Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon on a 1-year deal. Lando and Oscar staying. Carlos Sainz and Théo Pourchaire at F1 Team Kick Sauber. K-Mag and Nico staying around. Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda, Iwasa, and Liam Lawson. And then Kimi Antonelli and Valtteri Bottas at Williams.
Okay, I have one quick question.
Yeah.
When does Audi actually take over?
2026, I think.
So you think Carlos Sainz is going to like go through the pain of that 1 year? Back of the grid?
Yeah, maybe. If he knows, I think honestly, it's a smart move. Eat shit for 1 year in the hopes that when this team takes over, you actually like hit the ground running.
Okay.
It is like a potential you will have to fucking eat shit for a year.
All right.
Okay, that's our board. I didn't know how this was gonna shake out, but I fucking like it. Think it's fucking sexy.
Wish there was more chaos, but
yeah, there was kind of a not slutty version.
Because I think we realized they'll just where are these guys gonna go? They'll just take another year while we figure our lives out. Right.
This was I think a pretty actually very measured a departure for us.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're journalists now. We have a big platform, and so it's important when you have a fucking platform.
You got to be responsible.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about some of the news that's been happening around F1, and then we'll let you all get back to your fucking sad little lives where you're not listening to fucking the red flags. Obviously, more senior leadership at Haas has been leaving. Simone Resta, who is the technical director, is gone. Guenther's obviously gone. Io's taken over. We'll see how that shakes out. We already kind of talked about how Gene's been kind of.
It's going to be a shit show.
It's going to be a shit show, and you know what? And I'm hoping it's a shit show. I'm hoping that they fucking suck this year.
Yeah,
because
it's like watching your ex just fail.
Yes,
just making the most just cutting out all the toxic people in my life. You're like, oh, this person is so struggling.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. When people
they're like, I'm just cutting out all the toxic people in my life, just focusing on me. I'm like, oh wow.
When people post memes that are like only surround, if the people around you don't support you, do you even support you? And then you're like, this person is every person I know who's getting divorced posts shit like that.
Whenever you're tweeting or Xing or whatever the fuck it is about mental health and shit, I'm like, you are in trouble.
Baby's not doing well. So we hope that they're gone. McLaren, big signings with McLaren. They were
Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Mr. Steal Your Girl.
I can't believe he stole Estrella Galicia. What was the beer he stole? He stole.
Estrella.
He got. That's his now.
The beer of Spain.
The beer of Spain. He stole that from Carlos Sainz.
Wow.
He's like, hola, ¿cómo estás? Bien too. And somehow that worked on them.
Yeah.
Over Carlos Sainz? Right. How the fuck did he do that?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy, you have to hand it to him.
Yeah.
How the fuck did he steal that from them?
That's crazy.
He stole Monster from Mercedes.
Yeah.
He's like, I know Lewis is cool and everything.
Yeah.
But you know who's really marketable? Oscar Piastri. I mean, the guy has to be an incredible salesman.
Yes.
You got to hand it to him.
No, he's
so good at his job.
He's the GOAT.
He's so good at his fucking job.
He is so good at his
job. He's making McLaren great again. He is the greatest he's the best American in F1 for sure.
No,
the fact that he stole Estrella Galicia from Mr. Spain?
Yeah.
From Captain Spain?
On Ferrari. That they thought we'd rather have Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris clinking our glasses than fucking Carlos Sainz with the fucking hair fucking glistening drinking that shit.
Exactly.
Wow.
The two least Spanish people you've ever seen.
So did he steal? Because it says here that he stole 0.0. Is it just the non-alcoholic thing?
I don't care.
Is Carlos gone? It's still, my feelings don't care about your facts.
It's actually just a non-alcoholic. The fact that they didn't give that also to Carlos Sainz or to Fernando Alonso is crazy to me. And the fact that he stole Monster.
Yeah. Monster's crazy.
Monster's crazy.
Crazy.
They're like, we've had enough of this Lewis Hamilton fella.
Yeah. Let's move over to Oscar Piastri. That guy's got
some real energy. We know what I think of energy. I think of Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, he signed on longer than Lando is. Great.
Yeah.
He also, on top of beyond the sponsors, David Sanchez, who was Ferrari, ex-head of vehicle concept for Ferrari, is now going to be over with him. Mm-hmm. And Rob Marshall, who was a chief engineering officer at Red Bull, is coming to McLaren. They were both on gardening leave. They both had to just sit on their hands for a year, not be able to fucking, say anything, do anything, break a contract. But they're now going to be with McLaren. So on top of that shit,
he's just collecting Infinity Stones.
He's doing both things. He's doing seemingly what Gene is implying that Guenther couldn't.
Let's not forget that he stole Oscar Piastri.
And he stole Oscar Piastri. And that was a fucking great little steal.
Yeah. And he almost stole Palou. But that Chip Ganassi car was just too good.
And what's crazy is that he also stole Daniel Ricciardo, which at the time was you're a genius. So not all they
and he got Malukas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who we love.
Who is great for content.
Great for the content. Yeah, so that's fucking
he just loves
Zach Brown. The guy knows what he's doing.
Does he do they even have a development program, or is Zach Brown I am the development program?
Yeah,
he's fucking snatch people.
He's literally why am I wasting time developing
drivers when I could just let someone else do it and I can kidnap them?
It's actually fucking genius because these loyalty doesn't really mean shit.
Yeah.
Maybe it used to. There used to be a sense of this is how you do it. But then the second the cat's out, it's the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
Now people just take people. Oh, guess what? You're gonna be loyal to them. I have an F1 seat for you right now. When are they promising you a seat? In 3 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing that in 2024 the teams only have use of 3 power units.
That's so stupid. Who made that? Was that an FIA thing, Jenny?
Teams used to be able to use 4 power units. Now they've cut that down to 3.
Because you know what I love? More engine penalties.
Yeah, that's an FIA thing.
That's the FIA is so fucking stupid. They got rid of cursing.
Yeah. My God. Yeah. Right.
It's you know what it is? It's such a power play because the MBS is I have no power, so it's he's no cursing.
Yeah.
And you're now only going to be allowed 3 engines.
Right.
Because these are the little margins and where he can exercise power.
Right. That's what he does. Yeah.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
Because he tried to throw his weight around in bigger ways.
Mm-hmm.
And it failed. Where he's you can't wear jewelry. He was telling drivers what they could do, and they were all fuck you.
Even that was still an example of this.
Yeah.
Even that was an example of this. Also,
even that was but even that was too far.
He was throwing his weight around in bigger ways when he was when there was, the valuation of F1.
Yeah.
And then he was it's actually not worth that much. And then everyone was shut the shut the fuck up.
The Susie Wolf and Toto Wolf thing.
Susie Wolf,
throwing his weight around.
That was a bigger throwing his weight around.
Yeah. And then he got checked hard.
Yes, checked fucking hard into the board.
Yeah.
That really is what's happening.
Yeah, he's just throwing his weight around.
That is what they're doing.
And it's just nobody wants to see engine penalties.
Right.
Everybody uses more than 3 engines.
Yes.
Nobody wants to see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fucking lame. And everyone's getting fined now. You're not allowed to curse on the radio anymore?
So fucking stupid.
Yeah. They should be allowed to curse. They
bleep
it anyway.
it. It's who cares?
No, it's just a power play.
It's a power play.
It's like what I said before.
He's coming for Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah. And Max, honestly.
Yuki Tsunoda English is his second language. He doesn't he learned to speak English in garages with fucking British fucking lads who cursed all the time.
I love when they curse.
It's the best thing when they fucking curse.
When they curse. What else are we enjoying when Max is 3 laps ahead?
Yeah, I don't want to listen to the radio if they're not cursing.
Yeah.
You just want to hear George in the wall. Oh, sugar burp.
Well, it is funny that they have to hit a button to then curse. It's
I know. Well, that's what Fred said when we talked to him when we were did they have to actually He's
no, it's a conscious decision.
It's a conscious decision when Charles Leclerc pressed the button and said, "I am stupid. I am stupid,"
or just no. like I would say I wouldn't hit a button.
Yeah,
I would just
do it.
Because I broadcast things all the time.
Right.
I don't want anybody to hear it. I just broadcast it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So
MBS is just on a fucking power trip.
Yeah, he's on a tear.
He's like the kid that you give. He's like the hall monitor that you give a little bit of power to. It's just
actually, you can't wear that.
Yeah, that's against the dress code.
Nothing was better than like being in situations with like. This happened a lot of time in, say with me, in drama school, because you'd be like, you'd do these little plays and then you'd have someone be like your stage manager.
Yeah.
And they would just be a fucking Nazi during the fucking thing. But then you like see them and then you're like in life with them.
Yeah.
But in this room,
they're
like, did you read my email? I had this one stage manager who said like she would put something at the end where it was like, if you've read this all the way through, you get a candy. Just say the word "this" when you come into rehearsal today. And then she like came in. She was like, "Do you have anything to say?" And I was just like, "No." And she was like, "I guess you didn't read my email then." And I was like, I remember I read the email. I was like, "What do I need to know?" Blah blah blah. I didn't fucking be like, "Oh," and then what's the PS underneath her name?
Yeah,
I didn't read the email.
I was like, when Brian?
Hey, let's be honest. I didn't read the email, and guess what? I didn't fucking need to.
Yeah,
but it is a thing where someone finds their lane to have power.
Yeah,
and then you like see them later in life. I remember this also when I
Power reveals.
Power reveals.
Yes.
When I was a back waiter at ABC Kitchen.
Yeah.
I came in and, I was basically like the waiter's assistant. I didn't take orders. I just brought the food and
the water.
Whatever. I brought the water.
Yeah.
I did all the grunt work, which was fine with me because I was like, I don't have to learn this really fucking intense menu.
You don't have to think.
I don't have to think. Yeah. I just get to do shit. Yeah. I'm not trying to put any of my mental energy here. Exactly. All this stuff.
You can check it. You gotta be on autopilot.
And then then I would have people who would be like my waiters, and I'd be working underneath them.
Yes.
And how they would treat me.
Yes.
Would be very fucking revealing. And now,
some waiters would treat you one way, and some waiters
absolutely. Yeah. And I live with a guy who now and guess what? We're peers.
Yeah.
And but then we go to these parties, and this is years after the fact.
And he treated you well.
He treated me well because he's a fucking nice guy, and didn't say, "Oh well, this is my back waiter." Then I get to fucking be an asshole
and
to
take my whole life out on him.
Yeah, exactly. But now I get to see these people
who had power
over me, and guess what? Who I'm now doing better than in life.
Yeah.
And but just I'm just a peer, and they're like. The shame on their face when they see me is literally I could fucking. I'm like, no. It's better than fucking sour Skittles on a hot day.
Can I get a reading? How do they greet you?
They're just like, hi, how, congrats on the podcast. Then I'm like, suck a dick, dude. Fuck you.
Yeah, they thought they were fucking Jeremy Allen White.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm just like, no, you're not. You're not.
Oh god,
it's beautiful. It's beautiful when that shit happens. Okay, wind tunnel time. Here's the breakdown. Here's the breakdown of who gets the most of the wind tunnel time going into 2024. Haas gets 1,380 hours of wind tunnel time. Yeah. F1 team Kick Sauber gets 1,320. AlphaTauri gets 1,260.
This one's really interesting.
What?
Because they're gonna get all Red Bull's parts.
Right.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
And they get all this wind tunnel time.
And they get a ton of wind tunnel time. So Red Bull's going to be like...
That's the other thing. How are those parts doing?
Right. Yeah.
How are they going to control that?
Talk about conflicts of interest.
Yeah. How are they going to stop that from helping Red Bull?
Yeah.
So how's that new suspension we got given you? Right. How's that doing in the old wind tunnel?
Yeah.
They're obviously not going to do it over email.
Right.
But over drinks.
Yeah. Unofficial.
Kind
of like how the Susie Wolf thing was tipped off.
Yeah. Unofficial.
I don't know if you heard Christian Horner when he was on Sky News. He said it was an unofficial. We haven't lodged any official complaint. Yeah. Williams gets 1,200 hours. Alpine gets 1,140. Aston Martin gets 1,080. McLaren gets 1,020. Ferrari gets 960, Mercedes 900, and Red Bull gets 840 hours.
Which is lost
more than enough time.
Which is more than they got last time. And then you add all the AlphaTauri hours.
Right, exactly.
And then they got tons.
Of time. By the way, Newey uses a World War II wind tunnel. This is what Jenny just said. Apparently,
That's
Adrian
the
Newey,
coolest thing ever.
he's the fucking shit, dude.
He is like Oppenheimer.
He literally is Oppenheimer. Adrian Newey is Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Damn.
Just walking around with his little notebook, spying on people.
If he was around in World War II, whatever country he was from, like that country would win so thoroughly.
Yeah.
Like
their planes would have just been fucking so much faster than anyone else's planes.
I mean, he's just wasted in this non World War environment.
Yeah.
Just designing cars that are useless and faster than everybody else.
Yeah.
But could you imagine him in a war effort?
Right.
He would be designing machines of death,
right?
Like we've never seen before.
Yeah.
I am become death. That is fucking. That would have been Adrian Newey.
Yeah, fucking. Yeah, it would have been. Oh God, what's his name? Who's the fucking. The fat guy who was the head of England. Who is
Churchill?
Yeah, Churchill. Churchill,
fat guy who was the
the head of England. Yeah, let's go. No, Churchill just like shows up at his house and like pours him a scotch, and it's like, come have a cigar with me.
Yeah.
And then he just sits him down. He's like, we need you, buddy.
Yeah, he's like the modern day Da Vinci.
Yeah, he's a fucking king. Oh, so Jenny said it was 1946 post war, but like still sick, dude. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay, anything?
You know what's the best example of Power Trip?
Yeah,
of how lowly people treat other is the Wamsgans Greg relationship.
Yes.
Just the guy at the bottom of the food chain just finds the one guy below him and just treats him like absolute garbage. Yeah. It's just so real.
Yeah, you can't make a Tomlet without breaking some Gregs. You sent that 126 times this night. No, it's the perfect embodiment and encapsulation of that. You know. Now they do have some like weird sick bond that like ultimately develops, but no, most of the time you don't get the sick bond. You just get the person who's just taking their fucking day out on you.
Yeah.
Because they can. All right. Jenny says it's how assistants treat interns, how agents treat assistants, especially
and then the
Hollywood.
Assistants take it out on the interns.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. The hazing process.
Mm-hmm. Let's break the cycle, guys.
Let's break the cycle. I think that just about does this little thing. I think 2020, this silly season is going to be crazy, and this F2 season is really one to watch out for. We're going to do our best. We're going to
cover it
to cover it this year. Get your eyes on the F2 season because it's going to be this Kimi Antonelli kid. He's being thrown to the fucking wolves. And if Kimi Antonelli wins this Formula 2 season, then he's on a Leclerc. He's on a Piastri.
It's more impressive than any of those.
It's more impressive than even any of that because they did F3 into F2. He's young.
He does have one advantage, which I've read about.
What?
They're changing the regs for F2,
right?
So none of the guys who were there, none of the super seniors
established F team
have a crazy advantage,
right?
Because they've never driven that specific car before either.
Yeah,
so that's one thing that's in his favor that I think maybe Mercedes calculated. Like, okay, it's going to be hard, but it's not going to be as hard because these guys are also taking a step back as well.
True,
because they'll also have a learning curve.
Yeah.
So something to consider.
Yeah, but he's going in against some really top, young talent. So it's going to be a really interesting year.
But he's going to be on Prema, which is like the best team.
He's going to be on the best team.
He's going to be in a position to do well.
Yeah. So watch out, Kimi Antonelli. Let's see if the hype is real. We'll see
how Merck fucks it up.
Yeah. But yeah, he might be on that Oscar Piastri.
Or is it just Lewis being like, one more career I have to ruin?
Yeah.
There can only be one.
Yes. I am become death.
I am become death. All right.
All right, you motherfucking Vankas.
We love you. Goodbye, Vanka.
Till next time.